Hey guys, I'm back here with another video. Um, this is a message that I wanted to send out to you lovely people, and it's specifically intended to someone who wants something, whether that's um, money, a fulfilling relationship, success, freedom, traveling, world peace, whatever it is. If you want something and you feel like you're having trouble getting that thing and you can't seem to find the fulfillment that you're yearning for, this message might be for you. So, there's two parts to this. The first one is a little mental exercise. I just want you to clarify yourself. So, a lot of times people will think that they want something, but really they want something else. Uh, Classic example, for example, let's say you want to go traveling. You want the experience of traveling the world and experiencing different cultures, but you have no money. So then you think, well, I need money to travel, otherwise I'll be a broke traveler, and that's no fun. So I need money. And then you shift your sights to money, and then next thing you know, everything is about money. And I just want to remind you to remember why it is that you want the thing you want. Because sometimes we think we want something, but really that's just what we think is the only road to what we actually want. Another example would be, let's say you say, I want a sexy body, or yeah, I want to be attractive, and then you get invested in that. You know, you start going to the gym or whatever you want to do. Um, but really, at the root of that is the desire to have a fulfilling romantic relationship, and you think that because you know like having an attractive body is a requirement to a fulfilling romantic relationship. So just realizing that sometimes the core of what you want isn't really what seems the most obvious. I'll give you an example, a real life example. I was talking to this lovely lady a couple weeks ago, and she was telling me that she wanted to change jobs. And I naturally inquired. I was like, well, what are you looking for in this job that's not in the other job? And she said that it's closer to home. So I said, okay, so you want this job specifically? Because she was pretty specific on the job she wanted. I said, you want this specifically? Would any other job that's close to home be okay with you? And she said, yeah. So I said, well, why do you want a job close to home? And she said, well, to spend time with my boyfriend because we like to drink together and drink and do drugs together. And then I was thinking, okay, why is that? What are you looking for in that experience? And she said, fun. She wants to have fun. It's that simple. She just wants to have fun. So it's hilarious. At the root of this thing, like she thinks she wants a specific job to work, and she's thinking about this job that she wants. But really, at the core of it, what she actually wants is to just have fun, which you can have in so many different ways, right? So it's just because she was set on that being the avenue to get what she wanted. Um, so the point of this isn't to sort of diminish the value that you place on a certain physical form of something. Like, you could genuinely want to have lots of money, or have a relationship with someone that fits a specific, or maybe you do really just you want to have a sexy body just for the sake of having a sexy body. So I'm not trying to like squish those desires. If you genuinely want that, that's great. As long as you're clear on what you want. Okay, that aside, I want to tell you a little story that'll segue into the second part. So back in 2015, I was living in Montreal. Right now I'm living in Victoria. I was living in Montreal across Canada, and I was not happy where I was. I was going to university, doing a degree that I wasn't totally um, invested in, and I had decided to just put all my eggs in one basket and be like, okay, if I'm going to work, because you have to work in life, if I'm going to work towards something, I want it to be the best life I could possibly have. So I think, where do I want to live? What do I want to do? I'm not settling for second best in terms of what I want, not as a competitive thing, but in terms of like me, like what is it that I want to experience in life? I'm just going to invest myself in that. So I started like thinking about all these different jobs, and I landed on firefighting, municipal firefighting, which I thought, and I still think to this day, was just an amazing career. It's like, I couldn't describe it any differently than like a burning passion that every time, well, actually I'll get to that in a sec. So, so this was late 2015, and I had booked tickets to Vancouver. I booked them on January, so I booked them for January 5th. Now, I had also booked a emergency medical course, which was one of the requirements to be a firefighter, and I booked that early February. So when the time came, not that time, after I booked it. So after I booked the ticket, sorry, my brain just. So, after I booked the ticket, it was probably November-ish, and I was set, I was ready, and I would spend my time listening to music. Not all my time, but sometimes, almost every day. I would listen to music, close my eyes, and just think about what it would be like to be a firefighter. And I thought about driving the fire truck and like the feelings that that would evoke in me, and like being there for people when they need you the most, and all this stuff that was like heroic, and it was a fantasy. It was like nothing short of this like burning desire, this passion and fantasy. And I would just daydream about it, and it would be like I'd get goosebumps on my arms just thinking about it. And a few days after I booked my ticket, I was scrolling through Facebook, and there was this ad that came up. It wasn't an ad, it's just someone posted it on the Canadian Forces forum. Back then I was in the reserves. So someone had posted that they're running a free firefighter training for veterans, for Canadian veterans. And I wasn't a veteran, I'm not a veteran, but I was a reservist, and I was intrigued enough that I emailed them, and I was like, hey, I'm not a veteran, I'm just a reservist, but I wonder if it would be possible if you guys could make space for me somehow. And they said, well, just apply and find out. So I applied. Sure enough, 3 days later, they sent me a thing. They were just like, give me this information, we need this from you, we need your like actually, so they asked me for all this information, and I was like, okay, here you go, or whatever. And they said, all you need to do is buy the textbook and pay your ticket, because part of it was going to be in Texas. So anyway, so I looked it up, and I was accepted to the Vancouver one. So get this, I was accepted to firefighter training in Vancouver on January 7th, 2 days after I land. And it lasts for that month. It's every weekend until January, and then my EMR course was going to start. So just think about serendipity for a second. How crazy is that? There I was with a burning desire to create this dream that I wanted for my life. And there was this company, kind-hearted, generous company, that put this free firefighter training out there for people, and then the universe just linked us together. And next thing you know, I went down to Texas, I went with them, and I've done my firefighter training now. So yeah, like, I didn't really understand why. People around me were telling me before I went there that, it's obviously a scam. Nothing in life is free. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand how or why. I just trusted, and I thought, well, this is my dream. It's, even if it is a scam, it's worth a try. And turns out they weren't scamming. This was actually legitimate. So now I feel more that I understand what happened, and I understand how the act of visualizing was actually sending universal motions into effect and actually drew that experience into my life. And I want to share with you so that you can live your dreams. We have a global identity crisis where we identify ourselves with, if life is a play, we're the actor. You're an actor, you're acting your own body. I'm an actor, I'm acting as Pete, describing this message to you. But what we don't realize, what has been long forgotten, is that we also play a part in directing the experience of our lives. We're not only in our life, but we're also creating it from the outside in. Now, that's a concept that is pretty far out. There's no doubt about it. It's not something that most people living this life would understand. And I don't expect you to just take my word for it. That's not the point of this video. I'm not lecturing you. I'm just introducing an idea that if you choose, you can test for yourself. But let's just continue this for a second. So when you're dreaming, you're a participant in the dream as well as the dreamer. You have the power to change your dream. Now, we have a similar ability in our minds. We are connected to everything. We got caught up in being an actor. And we have the power, we have an inherited power to take more role as a director. So let's for a second not get lost in this creation. And just, okay, let's get back to what you want. So let's say you want a fulfilling relationship, or anything, it doesn't matter. You want something. This is the most crucial component, okay? So pay attention. If you could snap your fingers, if you could, boom, a mansion, boom, world peace, boom, the perfect spouse, boom, bunch of friends, boom, amazing car, boom, whatever it is you want. If you could snap your fingers and have that happen, that wouldn't be fun. It would be boring. It would be so boring. You'd just be living your dream every second. You'd be just like, oh, I want this, I want that, oh, I want that, I want that. It would suck. It would be a terrible way to live. So, we think that if it's true, if what I'm saying is true, that we have the power to direct universal motions outside of our bodies, if that's true, then you might ask, why isn't everything so easy? Why don't I have the things that I want if I could just create them? So this is the key part, okay? Faith. It's faith. That's the key component here. Faith that what you want is coming. Because the enjoyment of life, as I've just explained to you, doesn't come from receiving the thing that you want. It comes from the unfolding, the perfect unfolding of the delivery of what you want. So right now, you're sitting in your seat, or wherever you are, I don't know where you are. You're not experiencing the despair of life's cruelty because what you want isn't here. What you're experiencing is actually the slow unfolding, or fast, but the unfolding and perfect delivery of what you want to you. And it's your disbelief in that that's causing you to not feel fulfilled. So if you really think about this, faith that the universe is delivering to you what you want is more powerful and more fulfilling than any amount of money, than any relationship you can have on this earth dream, or any possession or physical object. Because that faith is the knowledge that if you were to lose those things, they would just come back. That what you want would just keep coming to you. Okay? Because if you don't have faith, if I give you $1 million, so let's say, here you go, let's say you want money. That's something that you truly want. And I say, here's $1 million. Make $50 million or whatever. And you say, yippee, I finally can do all the things that I want to do. So let's say you go traveling, you spoil your friends, you do all this stuff that you want to do. You can help with, any kind of global issue that you want, or whatever it is that you please. In the back of your mind, you would still be afraid of losing that, because you would see it as the thing that you have. Now, if I told you that I'm not going to give you $1 million, but what I will give you is the power to create anything that you want. That means you have the power to create $50 million. You have the power to create world peace. You have the power to attract the perfect person for you. Isn't that worth way more than any of those things? So this is what I'm getting at. This is the realization that the juiciest, most beautiful part, like the pinnacle of what you could ever want, is actually what you're experiencing right now. It's the unfolding of all of the good that's coming to you. All right? So I don't expect you to just take my word for this. I told you already that faith is the key component. Faith is the thing that brings your fulfillment, because it reminds you that all the good that you want is around the corner, and your job in life is just to enjoy the process. But don't take my word for it. I want you to discover this for yourself. I am just a messenger. I don't have superpowers. I'm just a messenger reminding you that you're more than just a human being. You're actually a spirit. And you have spiritual powers, right? We all do. And don't take my word for it. Test it yourself. Test it yourself. So this is a little... this can go two ways. Either I'm right, and you've just realized that you're infinitely more powerful than you think, or I'm wrong, and you go back to your regular life. But I'm going to give you this test that you can do yourself, just to give you a little smidge more faith, or more experiential evidence, because that's what we all want, right? It's difficult to believe something that you don't actually experience in your life. Words are meaningless compared to your own personal experience. So I'm going to invite you to do a little experiment. I want you to think of three things. Three things that would be cool if they happened. That don't really happen all the time, but also they're not totally unbelievable that they might happen. So an example might be someone buying you a flower, or someone getting you a cup of coffee, or a stranger complimenting you. Just small things that are believable that they would happen, but don't always happen all the time. Now, take each of those things and and obviously, like, it's implied that these are things that would bring about a sense of joy and, like, yippee, this thing happened. So think about these things, and I want you to visualize for 1 minute. Just set a timer on your phone. Set a timer for 1 minute, and close your eyes, and just imagine yourself receiving this thing or experiencing this experience. And then do that for a minute, do the other one for a minute, and then do another one for a minute. It takes 3 minutes of your time. It's not going to kill you. It might just change your life. Yes, do this. If you have any questions, I love talking about this stuff. I don't always know what to talk about, so if you guys are kind of curious or like want me to tangent somewhere or whatever, you just comment, send me a message. Yeah, try this exercise, and might take a week, might take 2 weeks, or it might never happen. But it also might happen. So with that, I'll say goodbye. Peace.